Hello guys, teacher Millie here. Do you miss me? I miss you a lot, all right? Now, I'm recording this video because as you know, we won't have a class this week. Okay, so I please need you to watch this video. Remember, you can repeat the video as many times as you consider necessary. So we're going to continue checking the present perfect, okay? That's the topic we started checking last week. And now we're going to continue practicing. So here we go. All right, now verbs. As you already know, the present perfect uses verbs in past participle. All right, so teacher, what are verbs in past participle? You don't remember? Go practice your verbs on Quizlet, all right? You already have this link. This is the link that we typically use to practice the verbs. You already did an activity with the verbs, so come on, keep practicing them. It is very important that you remember them, okay, and you memorize them. So now let's continue. So test yourself again, okay? You don't need to do anything in your notebook. You're not going to submit anything to Google Classroom. I just need you to check if you remember the past and the past participle forms of these verbs on the screen. Okay, so what verbs do you see? I see eat, visit, buy, ride, be, see, speak, sleep, cry, take, get, drive, kiss. All right, so check your memory right now. I am going to give you 5 seconds on this video to see if you can remember the past and past participles of some of these verbs, okay? I might give you 7 seconds. There we go, 7 seconds and counting. Okay, how many verbs did you remember? Did you remember the past and the past participle of the verb eat? Let's see, let's check if that's true. So eat is a present, ate is a past, and eaten is a past participle, okay? What about the verb kiss? We have kiss in present, kissed in past, and kissed in past participle because regular verbs don't change from the past to the past participle. They stay the same, all right? Okay, baby, so remember you need to continue practicing these verbs. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, so now let's go check the general structure. Check the examples and try to answer this question. How do you form the present perfect? Let's see. We have 4 examples here. 1. I haven't called my friends recently. Number 2. I have never eaten chapulines. Number 3. I have been to Guanajuato 2 or 3 times. 4. I have already studied the verbs. I hope that's your example, by the way, all right? So these 4 examples, try to analyze them, observe them. What is the structure? What do they have in common? What is the first element? What is the second element? What is the third element? Okay? So look at them and now let's go check the structure. Okay, this is the basic structure of the present perfect. All the sentences in present perfect begin with a subject, okay, or a person. It could be I, you, we, he, she, it, the list that you already know. It could be my mother, my father, my crush, my ex, my best friend, okay, etc. Any person that you want as usual. And after the person, we have or has. All right, do you remember the difference? Have is for I, you, we, they, and has is for he, she, it, and singular people, okay, or singular persons that are not you. Okay, after this, have or has, we're going to have a verb in past participle, and that's why it is super important that you remember the verbs. And after that, we are going to have the complement, the extra information, all right? Okay, so here we have a little mark, a little asterisk that says that having has are auxiliaries in this sense. And that is true, okay? In the present perfect, having has are auxiliaries. They are not the principal verb, they are not the main verb. They just accompany the verb in past participle. But it's very important that you have them. If you eliminate the auxiliary, then your sentence is incorrect. So be very careful there, all right? Now, there we have another example, and let's check the structure. This example is true for teacher Millie, by the way, because hashtag pobreza de maestro, right? So we have, the example is, I have eaten at Doña Lala once. Only once, one time, and that was it, just for the experience, just for the anecdote, okay? So I is a person, have is auxiliary, eaten is the verb in past participle, And my compliment is at Doña Lala once. Yes, I remember that I went to Doña Lala with my mother. One time she visited me. It was Mother's Day. So I think the place is okay, but to be honest, I think the prices are kind of expensive, don't you think? All right. So this was our example, and let's keep going. Okay, so now let's talk about ever. So here we have a question. So why do we use ever? Well, we use ever for questions. Ever represents any moment in your life, ever, in all your life. For example, for me, ever represents all these 30, 40 years of my life. And for you babies, it represents the 19, 18, 20 years of your life, okay? Ever represents all the time that has passed since you were born, ever. Your experience in this planet, on this planet, all right? So, and as it says here, it could be a recent moment or a distant one, okay? So that's why we ask questions with ever, because we don't care if the activity was recent or we don't care if the activity was in the distant past, okay? So we just want to know if the person has had that experience. I'm going to give you an extra example right now. For example, if you ask teacher Millie, I am thinking about African safari, maybe because I am traveling to Puebla and I never go to African safari when I visit, okay? But if you asked me, like, hey, teacher, have you ever been to African safari? I can tell you that my answer is affirmative, but it is very distant in the past, okay? I used to go with my father when I was a little kid, and I haven't visited African safari in 25 years or so. Okay, so it is a very distant experience, but it still happened, it still exists, it is still valid to respond yes. Okay, now let's move on. So check this example. Here we have a question that I hope everybody can relate to. The question is, have you ever cheated playing Uno? You know that cheated is a very interesting verb. Okay, cheat is what you do when you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you have another person, another, you know, cow or bull in your ganado, right, on the side. So we also apply it to exams and we apply it to games like Uno and Loteria and Monopoly and Pictionary. Okay, cheat is when you are not honest. So the question is, have you ever cheated playing Uno? And we have three possible answers. The first one is, yes, I have. I have cheated many times with my friends from school. Okay, so that's interesting. Yes, you have. And this activity sounds recent because you say that you have cheated with your friends from school, from La Normal, I imagine. All right. Now, option number two. No, I have never cheated in Loteria. I don't know why I responded Loteria because the question was Uno. Oh, teacher Millie. Okay, you get the idea. No, I have never cheated playing Uno. All right. Number three, I want to play Loteria. Maybe that's why. Number three, no, I haven't, but I have cheated in Monopoly. So maybe no, not in this activity, but yes, in another one. Okay, yes, in another activity. So over here, I want you to observe this. In the answers, we don't use ever, but we can use never in the negatives. Okay, ever and never, they are cousins. Okay, they are similar. Ever is for questions and they represent any moment in your life. And never is for negatives because it represents, well, never, zero. Rien du tout. Okay? So let's see. Now we're about to finish. Let's talk about already and yet. What happens if we eliminate ever from the question? Well, if we eliminate ever, then we're only asking about recent activities. For example, if you remember that extra example I gave you, like, teacher, have you ever been to African safari? And I said, well, yes, I have. I used to go with my father when I was a little child. Okay, I haven't visited African safari in a super long time, but my answer is still yes. What happens if I eliminate ever from the question and you just ask me, teacher, have you been to African safari? Even if you don't add anything extra, and I'm going to repeat this in Spanish, aun si no le agregan nada extra a esa pregunta, al quitar ever yo entiendo que quieren saber si esto ha pasado recientemente, ¿ok? So, teacher, have you been to African safari in your adventures in Puebla with the doctorate? And the answer is no. No, I haven't. I haven't been to African safari. All right? There you go. That's the difference. We are talking about recent activities. So here we have three examples. Number one, have you taken online classes today? So today is the day depending on when you watch this video. If it is Monday morning, have you taken online classes today besides Teacher Millie, the class you didn't take with me? Have you taken other online classes? Number two, have you seen your friends recently? And here I add the extra word recently, okay? That is like more indicative of it being a recent activity. And finally, here there is a mistake and I'm gonna have to fix it somehow with the magic of video. Have you had breakfast? Here the intention was not has, obviously, because you know that has is for he, she, it. Okay, so this was an error de dedo, a typo. Have you had breakfast? I want you to observe that it doesn't say today, it doesn't say recently, it doesn't say ever. So it's obvious that I'm saying, have you had breakfast today? That is the intention. It is very obvious. Now, it is also possible to add already or yet to the last question, the one about breakfast. And here is the correction. Aquí ya no dice has, una disculpa por el anterior. Ando corriendo, okay? So, have you already had breakfast? Have you had breakfast yet? These two questions are the same as the past one. So I have three options. Have you had breakfast? Have you already had breakfast? Have you had breakfast yet? What is the difference? Well, there isn't a big difference. It's just that already and yet represent a recent activity that you have completed or maybe you haven't completed. Okay? Let's check some other examples. So, well, yes, in this case, it's not necessary to use today. That's extra. And then let's see. Now let's analyze the answers to these questions. I have an extra question. Here the new question is, have you seen Emily in Paris yet? That's on Netflix. No, it's a new TV show or movie. I'm not sure. So have you seen Emily in Paris yet? Yes, I have already seen it. Extra information. I loved it. Okay? Or maybe, no, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe next week. Okay? Which, to be honest, is my case. I haven't seen Emily in Paris yet. Maybe next week I'll see it. Okay? So I want you to observe, why are we using already here and why are we using yet here? Well, because already is for affirmative answers and yet is for negative answers, all right? And I also want you to check the position of the words, okay? Already is between have, the auxiliary, and seen, the verb in past participle. And yet is at the end of the sentence. As usual, we separate the first answer from the extra information. Siempre separamos con punto y seguido. Recuerden, la coma nos traiciona a veces. La coma va acá entre el yes y el no. Pero para separar la información extra de la respuesta principal es punto y seguido, ¿vale? All right. So here it says it's always important to add extra information, to give more. You know, I always repeat that. It's very, very important. So I have another question for you, all right? And I have examples with extra information. My question is, have you ever listened to Angus and Julia Stone? I love them. Yes, I have. My favorite song is Grizzly Bear. That's my favorite song by them, to be honest. Listen to Angus and Julia Stone, okay? Look for them on Spotify or YouTube. Or no, I haven't. What kind of music do they play? So you see, affirmative or negative, the important thing here is to continue the conversation, to keep the conversation going. Now, final question. Have you understood the present perfect yet? Yes, I have. It's very easy. Or maybe not yet. I need to watch this video again. What's your situation, babies? I hope this video helps you, all right? And I'll see you soon. So please remember you can watch this video as many times as you consider necessary. If you have any questions, you can send me a WhatsApp. You can contact me via email after Tuesday. On Wednesday, you can contact me and I promise to answer all the questions you have. Now, something else, you can find instructions for this week's activities on Google Classroom, all right? So that's it. That's it for today, babies. Love you. Bye.